personnel, or real that is involved. Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is all about training. Now we're starting to get into the season where the training is starting to ramp up. In fact, if you go to the Facebook page for Gun Guru, the link is obviously going to be down below. In the events section, I'm going to, if it's not already up, it will be by the time this video is live. There's going to be links for a vast majority of the training groups that will be holding classes throughout the state of Connecticut for the upcoming year. All right, the reason I'm bringing this up is I'm a big proponent of training, right? I'm a firm believer. Everybody needs to train. And I don't mean, when I'm talking about training, I don't mean like LARPing in your mom's basement. I mean getting out there and shooting and learning from people that have been there, done that, got the t-shirt and all that good stuff. But the reason I bring it up is some of you might not know that recently in the federal government, out of the Judiciary Committee out of the Senate, Senator Markley has proposed Bill 3589, which I have right here, and I'm going to go over it real quick. It is called the Preventing Private Paramilitary Activity Act of 2024. Now, why am I bringing this up? I doubt this is going to get passed. I mean, there is no stomach for this. But with everything going on in Texas, convoy heading down to the border, calls for militias to show up, which you should not join a militia, even though I'm a big supporter of you do what you want. A lot of those militias, you know, get infiltrated by the feds, and then they stir up the pot, and then you get sucked into some stuff that you didn't mean to. And, you know, I mean, just look at the Governor Whitmer case, right? You had like 40 feds trying to convince 2 people to kidnap her, and then they hem up those 2. That's entrapment. But you don't think that these groups have been infiltrated? They've got these narcs inside? I'd avoid that stuff. But that's me. You do what you want. All right, but we're going to discuss this bill real quick as I enjoy some coffee. All right, this bill, in a nutshell, it is talking about private paramilitary organizations, okay? And it defines it. They have definitions for ammunition, armed forces, dangerous weapon, explosives, firearms, large capacity magazines, or what they call it, large capacity ammunition feeding device. And they tell you, you know, that it does not include 22s, but going into basically it's, you know, anything over 10 rounds. National Guard, how they define person, regulatory organization, state militias, things like that. Anyways, the unauthorized private military activity, all right, the offense. And they list a lot of them, but I'm only going to talk about the ones that really pertain to you. All right? Where you publicly patrol, drill, or engage in techniques capable of causing bodily injury or harm. Training to engage in any activity described in paragraphs 1 through 4. Okay, what are 1 through 4? It involves, so 1 through 4 is patrol, drills, engaging, interfering with government operations, interfering or intimidating people or persons exercising any right under the Constitution. Unless it's your Second Amendment right, then poo-poo on you. Assuming functions of law enforcement officers, peace officers, or public officials. It's a bunch of stuff, all right? But with the training groups, when you're out there training and you're learning techniques, you are learning drills and a bunch of other stuff. So this can easily be manipulated to make training like that, with training groups, things like that, magically illegal, right? I'm sure they can warp this some way, somehow, to make training a problem. All right. It will include traveling across state lines or national borders. So across state lines. Now, locally, we have our own training groups. But say you want to get a little deeper in the weeds. So you're going to go out to like Haley Strategic. You're going to go out to Onward Research. I don't know when their classes are, but they're out in Idaho. If you're going to go down south and you're going to go train with, Dom Shipley, and you're going to go do some GBRS stuff. If you're going to go out west and do like tier 1 group stuff, that's all crossing state lines with your guns and all that jazz. They're going to hem you up for that. Use of channels, facilities, instrumentalities, I pronounced that all wrong, of interstate or foreign commerce. So use of channels, facilities. So basically, it sounds like it's saying, oh, if you're using a facility, like T1 Group's got an amazing facility, whole compound for like CQC, vehicle interdictions, things like that, they're going to hem you up. If it involves firearms, explosives, incendiary devices, any other dangerous weapon that has traveled through. So, they got you there. Involving the use of ammunition or large capacity ammunition feeding devices. So if you travel from one free state to another free state, and you have standard capacity magazines for like an AR, which would be 30, they consider those large capacity. They'll hem you up for that. Any training that occurs wholly within the Commonwealth, territory, or possession of the United States. So basically, anywhere you go, if you're doing this type of stuff, they're going to get you. All right? Except if you are Armed Forces, United States, National Guard, Naval Militia, or a state militia, right? Because states have their militias. Like, obviously, the Florida Guard just got sent to Texas to help with the border crisis. The nice thing about the Florida Guard is that it's not National Guard, so if they tried to federalize the National Guard, that's all fine and dandy, but you can't do that to the state guards. So at the very bottom of the bill, it kind of does a summary, right? And it says, forfeiture, in general, any person who violates the subsections that I listed, and they list in this, shall forfeit to the United States any property, personal or real, involved in, used, or intended to be used in any manner or part to commit or facilitate the commission of the violation or that constitutes or is derived from proceeds traceable to the violation. So what's that basically say? So if they were to, say, interpret this as, well, your training, which is a clear violation of this law, then everything you're using for that class, they're going to seize. And you're not going to get it back. All right, so this bill is never going to go anywhere. It's going to be dead on arrival when it comes to Congress, right? But don't think for a second that if for some reason you have a bunch of rhinos turn on you and pass this with the Democrats' help, Joe Biden will sign this in a heartbeat, and then it becomes law of the land for unauthorized private paramilitary activity, which I am sure they will use literally any way they can to screw up training to where you're not going to be able to do training. And the kicker is, when they go in to describe it, it says a private paramilitary organization means any group of 3 or more persons associating under a command structure for the purpose of functioning in public or training to function in the public as a combat support, law enforcement, or security service unit. So some of the training I've gone through, where you're learning peels and you're learning how to bound and things like that, they could easily say, hey, that right there, that's paramilitary stuff. It's illegal. And then, it just opens up a can of worms. So just keep your eyes out for anything going on with the Senate Bill 3589, I will put a link below to it. You can read it for yourself. Right now, it's just been proposed. But again, I really believe this will probably be dead on arrival. Now, why do I bring it up? Well, it's simple. Obviously, we know I believe in training. But here's how training works, guys. I've always preached this to all my students. It's a double-edged sword with training. All right? So, all of us are like-minded, right? So if you're dealing with a home invasion, whatever, you're going to do what you need to do. Now, the problem is, if you get training and you become proficient, which is what we all strive for, and you're cool under pressure, and it comes down to this moment. You do what you need to do, let the chips fall where they may, or the brass, and in the end, when you're sitting in court, the prosecution is going to bring up all the training classes that you've ever done. And they're going to talk about how you were doing this, that, the other thing, and you were preparing yourself because you wanted this to happen. You were getting yourself ready for this, right? You were looking for any excuse to do what you did, right? Your self-defense. There you go. They're going to make your training look like you're some sort of psychopath. On the flip side, since it is a double-edged sword, so you don't get any training. You're like, yep, I'm not doing that. I don't want to get hemmed up in the paramilitary activities. I don't want to take a pistol defense class with a group of people because it's going to look bad, right, optically. That's great. So then you're not prepared. And same scenario will happen. And say for some ungodly reason you miss, or you strike an innocent person, or something goes wrong. What do you think the prosecution is going to say at that point? They're going to say, well, he didn't take it seriously. He never got training from a professional. He was lackadaisical. They're going to use it that way to make it show that you're not serious about it. So either way, whether you get training or you don't, they're going to use it against you. I would err on the side of getting the training, though. That's me. So speaking of training, where can we get the training? Well, if you're here local in Connecticut, some of the best, I made a short list, best training that you can get in our state are from some of these training groups, and I will give you their names. You've got Black Sheep Training Group. Great group of guys out of Middletown. A lot of them are prior military, retired, so on and so forth. They're going to run you through the gambit. They're going to really give you the no-frills training, right? It's not going to be, filled with flourishes. This is all real-world tactics that they've used throughout their military career, all right? Patriot Performance, Valkyrie, Connecticut Night Vision, which used to be Jay Strategics. He holds classes, so if you're into the night vision stuff, you're into your basic carbine one, your defensive pistol one, so on, that's where you're going to want to go. Same with Black Sheep. Freedom Ballistics, they're a newer company, and they've got a bunch of classes coming up here soon. Tom's Defense. Tom's a great guy. His training, like Patriot Performance, is coming more out of the Leo perspective versus military, so depending on what your flavor is, what you're looking for, there you go, you got options, right? Then we have Northeast Firearms, Northern Sky, Northman, so if you're up near Montville area, yeah, Northman tactics, things like that. Regardless, you need training, all right? All the dry fire in the world is good, but it's not going to get you to that next level, all right? There's I hate saying the word, there's tactics, but there's things that you're probably not thinking of, things that you don't know about, and they're going to walk you through the paces. Like when it comes to transitions, when it comes to your abnormal shooting positions, right? There's only so much you can train at home. And all the dry fire is great, but recoil management. So it helps to actually get some lead downrange. getting used to shooting with other people around you that are also shooting, because it does get distracting, right? You just shooting on your own, all fine and dandy. But when you're trying to listen to commands, other people are shooting, things like that, and you're not just aware of where your target is, you have to be aware of where everybody is around you for safety. Good training, and the only way to do it is actually take these classes. So basically, get off the couch, stop LARPing, go get training. Links are in the Facebook page for all the events that are going on. If you don't get the training, you're going to die. Get the training. The world is on fire. We're on the precipice of World War III and a civil war and all these other things that are going on. Get the training. All right? You think you're good, you're not. You need more. Military, we train and train and train, and then we train some more. Because if it ain't raining, you ain't training. All right? And no matter how much you train, how many years you've been doing it, you don't know it all. There's other perspectives, other instructors that have different life experiences, right? Something that may work for you doesn't work for other people, so on and so forth. All you have to do is just watch a couple of videos on YouTube about CQC work and how to clear a building, right? You're going to have all these professionals, all these experts making these videos, and some of them just they're not right. They're not good at all. I've seen videos where they tell you to shuffle your feet. Then there's another video where like you don't shuffle your feet. You got to cross your legs and walk, which to me is always a trip hazard. You don't want to do that. Then you'll find another video where I love it. You see them like going like this, trying to pry the door instead of one continuous smooth motion. It's a dime a dozen, right? Everybody's an expert at one point or another. So take everything with a grain of salt. I personally, it's simple. Go learn from those that have done it in real life. I know they always say those that can't do, teach. I'll find the instructors that have done it, and now they're teaching because they've been there and done that. So that's all I have for you guys today in this video. I know it's short and sweet. Bunch of bad news about training and all that, but for you guys need to know, best way to support the channel always is merch. Picking up some merch, supporting the channel helps me continue to provide these great videos for you for free. I don't have to try and put them behind a paywall or any weird thing like that. We've got Patreon, we got locals, all that stuff is down in the description section. So definitely hit the like. It helps with the algorithm and all the analytics. If you haven't subscribed, because I know when I look at the metrics, it's like 90% of the people that watch these videos are unsubscribed. Please, subscribe to the channel. Help a brother out. I'm going to try and get another video out in a couple of days. Next week, I may or may not have a video close to the weekend. And I'm open about it. And the reason is on Thursday, I have to go in for a lung biopsy because my doctor is sick and tired of another doctor doing all these CT scans, MRI scans, or just like, we're done. Go get a sample, do the biopsy. So figure out what's going on with me. And when I know, you'll know. Whatever. So that's it. I'll see you guys in the next video.